Hi, I'm Jeff Lowe, Chief Executive Officer of Asian Sky Group and Asian Sky Media, here today with Tony Shen from Wayman Aviation in Florida. He's president, and he's kindly made himself available today for one of our short clips here to talk about some of the challenges the industry face. This is all part and parcel of ASG's, Asian Sky Media's 2020-2021 training report. So thank you very much, Tony, for joining us. Always appreciate to get your views. You're not a first timer. We've had you doing a podcast before. So as we kind of said prior to getting started here, it'll be interesting to see how things may have gotten better or gotten worse over the last, because I think it's been about 6 months or more since we had you last time. So, but anyways, Thank you very much for joining us. And really the first question is kind of an introduction for you to make. In fact, just talk about Wayman and the kind of training that you currently offer.
Right. Well, Jeff, it's always, good to be here with you. Wayman is in Florida, in Miami area in Florida, US. It's one of the largest flight training academies in Florida. We've been around for over 33 years. And we do offer, from private pilot training course all the way to commercial flight instructor. So, pretty much everything about flight training we do offer. And we have students from all around the world.
Right. Yep. And, we talked about it kind of the last time, but obviously pandemics tend to bring challenges to any business, no matter what you're in. But obviously aviation, commercial aviation, business aviation, general aviation has been probably one of the sectors that has been impacted the hardest. And so when it comes down to the training side of things, it all sort of trickles down. So what are the challenges that you currently face, given the current industry, if you will, suffering under the pandemic? So what are the challenges that you face from the training side?
Well, the biggest challenge, Jeff, has really been the travel restriction, right? We are still selling. People want to come to the U.S., come to Wayman for flight training. It's just they cannot get here. Either no flights available or no, U.S. visa appointment available.
Right. Yeah.
So that really has been a challenge.
Right. And to kind of meet that challenge, what changes have you initiated at Wayman? Okay, they can't get to you, but I'm assuming that means you've been coming up with ingenious ways to get to them, if you will.
Absolutely. We just have to be, more innovative, right? So the best way for us to do in this case really is to keep engaging them by offering virtual class.
Right. Okay.
We've never done that pre-COVID, but after this, happened, we have really set up a really good virtual program to offer to students who are just waiting in their home countries. Keep engaging them so they can start training even at home.
Okay. And if I can, and maybe in simple terms, so those virtual courses that you're now offering, what are they, what have you had to done specifically and move to online that you're offering at the moment?
Right. So, before it's all in person, right? So it's play presentation and then, people can easily interact in person. Now we just have to move everything to Zoom. Also, you have to use, different applications for, let's say, quizzes, exams. How you want to show, different courses. It's a little bit different, just. But we really have the best flying and ground instructors. So it took us just a couple of months to develop the online courses, and then it's been really popular. People are loving it.
Yeah, I know there's no real comparison, but obviously I got 3 kids, and they're all, if you will, school for them has all moved online and virtual as well. And I only mention that because I know some of the instructors, some of the teachers can make that move to online, and some can't. I mean, some
Exactly.
are great. Some are great
Yeah.
teachers in the classroom. They're really personable. They're engage the students and everything else. But you get them behind a laptop like we're doing at the moment, and it's a different story as well. So it's not an easy adjustment. And of course, the material and the way it's structured for the classroom with a teacher present and everything else, again, when you go online, it's just not the same thing as well. So I can understand it took
Absolutely,
a couple of months to make that shift, but I imagine it's also a big adjustment for the instructors as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our previous top rated ground instructor is not really like there's one instructor in particular. He's awesome in person for in person class, but not really know how to do the Zoom thing. So, but that does give opportunity to other younger instructors.
Right. Okay. Great. And obviously, we've seen throughout the industry, if you will, and I'll relate to Cathay Pacific here in Hong Kong, and I know it's a little bit unique because we don't have a domestic, if you will, market to serve. But obviously, most of the fleet's on the ground. Their network is they're only serving 1% of it at the moment. The traffic's down 99%. So a lot of pilots are idle, and so. What do you think that means for the industry if we look ahead, 5 years, 10 years, as far as there seems to be a lot of pilots that are now not in jobs, the assumption being that obviously that they will get back to flying eventually. But going forward, certainly there's some in the industry who say, look, it may take quite a bit longer for international travel to recover, and it may not ever be the same. I mean, there are those that have that opinion. So from your point of view on the training side, what do you think that means for your enrollment, if you will, going over, looking forward over the next few years? How do you see that kind of playing out then?
Sure. I mean, the end goal for all of our students really is, getting a job at airlines, right?
Yep.
So that's why the projection for airline recovery is so important. And I do believe most analysts in the industry believe that the airline industry will resume to the pre-COVID level within 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, for training it's kind of different because for a new starter, starting from scratch to be ready for airline job, it takes at least 3 years. Okay. So it's actually perfect time, for the young people to start training now. Projecting out 3 years that they will be qualified and ready for airline jobs. And by then, the airline industry should resume at least pre-COVID level.
Right. And then you're sort of from there, you're back to the normal projections of annual growth that we expect to see in the commercial industry, which, absolutely, as we all know, was always forecasted to be that there was a shortfall in pilots anyways. So demand should still be quite strong.
Absolutely.
Right. Is there anything that you're doing at the moment because again, a lot of those pilots we're talking about are guys that are in the industry already that are idle and so on. And you just mentioned it as well, how to bring new, if you will, young talent, attract them to, if I was looking for a job right now, maybe I'm not looking at the airline industry because, as you said, it doesn't look great at the moment, but it obviously will recover. And as you say, it'll take them a few years before they can even enter into that industry. So are you doing, or what should the industry do right now then to try to attract people to make sure that we don't have an extreme shortfall as you say, when we recover in 2 or 3 years and we're back to pre-COVID levels? We want to make sure we don't have a gap in the supply, if you will, because people today are not being attracted to the industry. Because again, as you say, we need them 3 years from now to be popping out of the system, if you will, because the demand for new pilots is still going to be high then. So anything the industry should be doing right now, or you're doing particularly at Wayman, to attract new young talent, if you want to call it that?
Right. I think we just need to get the message out, make sure people understand. Yes, right now the whole airline industry is in the crisis, but this thing will be over. And particularly for people who want to, thinking about having an airline job or career in the future, you need to understand you should start earlier, a couple years earlier before you're ready. So, Wayman, we do a lot of interviews. Now is the perfect time to do more Zoom interviews, right? So
Yeah.
we do invite, pretty much like what you're doing right now. We talk to the airline captains, industry experts, just to hear their insight. And then we use our own social media platform to share those information with those young kids. And hopefully they see, what's going on and, what the projection will be in 2 years from now.
Right. And I'm assuming that your enrollment is holding up as well. It would be probably reasonable to assume that maybe you're not at 100% as previously, but I would assume your enrollment's holding up. And what's the balance between new domestic students versus new international students? Are you seeing still good demand from the domestic side, but the internationals just dropped off a little bit because of the difficulties in even getting to you?
Right. So pre-pandemic, our domestic student versus international is like 50-50.
Okay.
And then starting from last March, because of international
Yep.
travel restrictions, we really didn't have any international students enrollment, right? So it's almost 90% or 100% just domestic enrollment. But starting from last month, January 2021, international students are coming again.
Okay.
And this month is even more, and next month it will be even more.
Well,
So I think by
that's a
by the
great
end
sign. That's a great sign.
I know. Yeah.
So,
By the end of Q2, I think we should resume at least 50-50
wow.
for the
Okay.
new enrollment.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm sure you're sitting there going, yeah, it's taken quite a while to get to
I
that
know.
point. But I mean,
Too long.
it's nice to see that, like I said, the international side is sort of coming back slowly, as we all kind of knew it would. So, but I mean, I think that'll be a great result if sort of the end of the second quarter, you're back to 50-50. Okay. Well, Tony, I mean, those were what I wanted to pick your brain on this morning and get your feedback. So I certainly, again, appreciate you setting the time aside. And as always, we keep our eye on what's happening at Wayman. So it's good to see you guys are bouncing back.